The moment you finally feel stable, a fight erupts over nothing. Why does peace in your life trigger chaos in theirs? This is the dark psychological paradox of emotional sabotage cycles, a predictable pattern that weaponizes your happiness against you.
So that question, right? It's the kind of thing that can make you feel like you're going crazy. You start to wonder if you're too sensitive or if they're just having a bad day again. But what if it's not random? What if this isn't just emotional chaos, but a predictable, almost mechanical system? Think of it like a machine, with gears that start turning the second you find a little piece. In this explainer, we're going to pop the hood on that machine, take it apart piece by piece, and show you exactly how it runs.
So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with that core paradox, why your happiness seems to spark chaos. Then we're going to give this pattern a proper name and define it. From there, we'll dive deep into the three-stage sabotage mechanism that keeps it going. We'll look at the psychology for both people involved, and then we'll get practical with 2 concrete steps to break free. Finally, we'll talk about the choice it all comes down to, choosing your peace over their crisis. By the end, you'll see the blueprint and you'll have the tools.
All right, let's jump right into it. To take something apart, you've got to know what you're looking at. So let's give this destructive pattern a name and really understand its core parts.
This is what we're dealing with: Emotional Sabotage Cycles, or ESC. Now, the 2 words I really want you to focus on here are predictable and designed. This isn't just happening by accident. It's a tactic, it's a recurring loop, and it's often a key feature of something like narcissistic personality disorder. A crisis gets manufactured for one reason: to knock you off balance so they can stay in control. That feeling you have of constantly walking on eggshells, that's not a bug in the system, it's the feature. And here is the absolute heart of the matter. Your stability isn't something to celebrate together. It's seen as a profound threat. When you're independent and happy, it signals a massive loss of what's called narcissistic supply. You can think of this as their emotional fuel. They need your constant attention, your reactions, your energy, even your frustration to feel important. So when you're doing just fine on your own, it's like their fuel line gets cut. That triggers a deep internal panic and an immediate, desperate need to plug you back into their system.
So how do they do it? Well, they have a few go-to moves you might recognize. There's crisis manufacturing. That's creating a problem out of thin air, a sudden emergency that just happens to pop up when you're finally relaxed. Then you've got preemptive devaluation, that little sarcastic comment that takes the wind out of your sails right after a big achievement. There's sudden withdrawal, the silent treatment, which basically forces you to chase them. And of course, unpredictable rage, a sudden explosion that's all about shock and awe, designed to completely destabilize you. The goal for all of these is exactly the same: pull you back into their world where their needs are, once again, the only thing that matters.
Okay, so we've seen the tactics. Now let's look at how they all fit together into a system. Because this isn't just a random list of bad behaviors, it's a repeating, 3-stage process. This is the engine of the cycle. The whole mechanism works in 3 stages. Stage 1 is the stability trigger. This is the moment you get that promotion, have a great time with your friends, or just feel a moment of quiet contentment. To the manipulator, this feels like a deep personal attack, what psychologists call a narcissistic injury, and it signals to them that they're losing their grip. And that trigger immediately kicks off stage 2, the crisis eruption. To deal with that feeling of injury, they deploy one of those tactics we just talked about: a fight, a sudden drama, a rage. The point is to force you out of your happiness and into a state of high alert, where all of your energy is now focused back on them and their manufactured problem. And that leads us to the final critical stage, the dependency reset. You, being the target, do what you do best. You manage the crisis. You soothe them, you solve the problem, maybe you even apologize for something you didn't do just to get back to peace. And once you've cleaned up their mess, you might get a brief reward. But the real goal has already been met. Your independence has been neutralized, your focus is back on them, and the whole system is now reset, ready to go again.
So you might be asking, why on earth would anyone stay in a loop like this? Well, there's a powerful psychological reason, and it's the glue that holds this whole thing together: intermittent reinforcement. After the huge fight, you get a little bit of kindness. After the silent treatment, you get a moment of connection. It works just like a slot machine. Because the reward is unpredictable, you never know when the payout is coming, and your brain gets absolutely hooked on the chance that it might. It's a powerful, addictive force that conditions you to put up with all the bad stuff just for that tiny, fleeting moment of good.
Okay, so we've got the what and the how. Now let's really get into the why. What are the deep psychological drivers making this whole thing tick? What makes the manipulator need to sabotage, and what makes the target vulnerable to it?
On the abuser side of the table, it's all about two things: control maintenance and supply security. They just can't handle your independence. It feels like a personal rejection. So the sabotage is a tool to make sure you stay dependent. It also guarantees they get their emotional supply, your attention, your reaction. In a weird way, your stability makes them feel unstable. Now, for the target, this isn't about weakness. Let's be really clear on that. It's about a manipulation of a very human need for connection. The crisis they create triggers two powerful drives in you. The first is a desperate need for anxiety reduction. That conflict creates a horrible feeling, and your brain just wants to do whatever it takes to make that feeling stop. And the second is a deep need for wound resolution. For a lot of us, this taps into old fears of being abandoned, creating this powerful urge to fix the relationship to feel safe again. The manipulator knows this, and they exploit that need to fix things to reel you back in every single time.
All right, so enough about the problem. How do you stop this machine? This part is all about taking action. We're going to cover the two essential steps you have to take to interrupt this cycle and get your stability back for good.
Breaking free really boils down to these two defensive moves. First, you have to see the trigger, and second, you have to stop your own urge to fix it. Let's start with step one: identify the autonomy trigger. This is your light bulb moment. You have to start becoming a detective in your own life. The next time chaos erupts out of nowhere, you have to train yourself to stop and ask, wait, what good thing just happened for me? What success did I just have? When you start to see that the fight is a predictable reaction to your happiness, the whole game loses its power over you. And once you can see it coming, you can move to step two: interrupt the repair compulsion. Your gut, your anxiety, everything in you is going to be screaming at you to jump in and solve the crisis. You must consciously refuse to do it. A really powerful tool for this is something called the broken record technique. You find a simple, calm phrase, like the one on the screen: I see you are escalating conflict now, I will not engage. And you just repeat it. It's going to feel incredibly weird at first, but you have to remember, the goal is not to win the argument. The goal is to refuse to play their game.
And this right here, this is the entire mindset shift you have to make. You have to change your goal. You have to stop chasing that quick hit of relief you get from fixing their manufactured crisis. That little moment of calm is the bait. The real win isn't getting their approval. It's stepping out of their system completely and building your own long-term consistent peace, a peace that belongs to you and nobody else.
So, after breaking it all down, the mechanics, the psychology, the escape plan, what's the bottom line? What's the final choice we're left with?
It all comes down to this simple but chilling fact. In an emotional sabotage cycle, the rules of a healthy relationship are flipped upside down. This system is built to punish your stability because your stability is a threat to their control. In this world, peace is the exception, chaos is the norm. So let's put it all together. Emotional sabotage cycles make sure things fall apart every time you get happy, and it's for one single reason. Your stability is the abuser's biggest threat. Your peace feels like their destruction. We've seen the pattern clearly now, haven't we? The stability trigger, your moment of happiness, always leads to a crisis eruption. That chaos is perfectly designed to trigger your deepest anxieties and push you into the dependency reset, where you give up your autonomy just to get things back to normal. But now you know, awareness is what breaks the loop. When you learn to identify the autonomy trigger, you see the machinery behind the curtain. And when you decide to interrupt the repair compulsion, you're refusing to be a gear in that machine. You are choosing to protect your own peace over participating in their crisis.
And so that brings us to the final, most important question, the one only you can answer. The next time that storm starts brewing, right when you're starting to feel good, the choice is going to be yours. Will you leave your peace to go fight their crisis?